So guys, there is a lot of misconceptions about the MiG-29, and today I actually wanted to clarify some things. So there is the new cobra button that, yeah, some people are even mad that I'm calling it the cobra button, which is, I find it funny. I'm just making sure that it's easy to explain what that button do, okay? But basically that button takes it off some limits of the fly-by-wire, technically, quote-unquote fly-by-wire of the aircraft, which means that you can pull a lot more angle of attack, meaning that you have more nose authority in your aircraft and you can do crazy maneuvers like this and still control the aircraft pretty easily, okay? So the MiG-29. The MiG-29 guys have this button, and there is a lot of controversy behind some of these aircraft receiving this button, right? And the MiG-29 is one, but the MiG-29 doesn't use a fly-by-wire system, right? Well, yes, it doesn't use one, but it's not like a normal aircraft as well. It's something in between, okay? So that's why I wanted to actually show to you guys this video, okay? So the MiG-29 has that system over there. That system there is basically is basically the heart of the aircraft. Yes, indeed, it is using cables and hydraulic systems, just a normal older aircraft, just like a MiG-23 or something like that. But before it get to those, to those hydraulic engines to pull the maneuvers and everything, to make sure that the control surfaces are doing what I want, there is basically a damper, or a very heavy damper. It's actually what MiG-29 calls a hybrid system. Technically, it is somewhat similar of a fly-by-wire system, that damper. So it's more advanced than a normal damper, but it is less advanced than a normal fly-by-wire system. Like I said, it is something in between. What this does is basically make sure that we have three things. The first one is that we still have a very maneuverable aircraft. So of course all the control surfaces and everything, the aerodynamics of these aircraft were made in real life according to the findings of the Institute of Hydrodynamics or something like that, I forgot the name, in the Soviet Union, right? So the aircraft itself is a whole wing design that it's supposed to be super maneuverable, and of course this system makes sure that you have proper ailerons, elevators and everything to control the aircraft properly to be a very maneuverable fighter. The second thing is that of course we need safety here, guys. So instead of having a normal system because of the new control surfaces, the new designs, philosophies in aerodynamics and everything, it would be maybe too unstable to fly normally when landing, when just flying normally without any type of computer, right? So crashes would happen. So of course, to the safety of the pilot, there is always a computer looking into what you are doing and making sure that the controls that you are doing are in a safe manner, dampening them. But why isn't it a full fly-by-wire system? Well, MiG-29 actually thought that the full fly-by-wire systems that were being developed for the Su-27, for example, and in the other side of the curtain for the F-16, F-15 later on, right, and some other aircraft, eventually would be kind of too dangerous for them. So MiG-29 actually thought that if the fly-by-wire system would fail, it would be too dangerous to have the aircraft only rely on that, right? So what they had, it is basically, like I said, a hybrid system. It is more on the conventional side of the hybrid, in the, like, if you're gonna mix the two, but it's still a hybrid system. So indeed, we do have the control surfaces and everything controlled by cables and hydraulic systems, but there is a computer controlling them a little bit as well and dampening everything to make sure that the pilot doesn't, crash into the ground while trying to do a normal maneuver and trying to increase safety parameters. These together with the brand new system that I forgot the name of it, but it's that system there together with some other ground systems. This aircraft was actually pretty modern. It had the semi fly-by-wire system together with a semi-autonomous, how do I say this, self, maintenance checking system, right? So we would try to find on its own what was the problem. Basically a car scanner, basically, right? When you go to a mechanic inside the proper aircraft and reading everything that the aircraft is doing wrong. So these two systems would make the aircraft as safe as possible and still be able to perform as much as possible on par with the other fourth generations. Of course, even with that, it is still a more sluggish aircraft. Although it is using some of these systems, it is a little bit more sluggish than an Su-27, for example, because one of the reasons is the fly-by-wire, right? But of course, the design as well. This was a point defense fighter. It was supposed to accelerate very fast. Of course, it was supposed to do dogfights, but the main objective was to get to a point very quickly when nearby, taking off from a nearby airfield, okay? So they would spread around these MiG-29s. The objective was that on 200 to 200 kilometer areas, you know, from airfields nearby, and these aircraft would take off from this airfield and cover these points or intercept targets at that. That was the main objective of the MiG-29 and of course the whole system of the aircraft. So how does it work in the game and why is it realistic? Because in real life, first of all, we do have these systems, right? If you play around like this, you are flying around in real life, you would have these limitations, you know? I have still a feeling that it would be higher than 22 degrees per second. I have numbers that come from some books that are saying that it is 26 degrees per second that you could pull in a normal turn like this. As you see with War Thunder real-time information, we know it's 22 seconds. But also, if you turn the system off, and you could by clicking a button down there, just like I can click a button up here, it would be able to pull the maximum amount of AOA, which is close to 30, 40, depending on situation, even more, like 50, like you see right here. So that's why this is actually a pretty realistic system for the MiG-29. I know it's kind of weird. It's a very different system from the F-16, from the Su-27, F-15, and some others, but it is indeed a very unique aircraft. But the way that it is working like it should be, kind of in real life, okay? Other thing that I think it's pretty cool is that this aircraft has a tendency now with this AOA limiter of doing reversal rolls, which is something that it's very common when you pull a lot of AOA in a MiG-29. There are multiple sources that, you know, confirm this of real pilots saying that the only way of controlling this is using the rudder, and the aircraft itself is indeed kind of uncontrollable sometimes if you don't use the rudder in these very, very high AOA situations in a dogfight. But finally, the MiG-29 can do what it can do in real life and pull a lot of nose authority, maybe not a proper Cobra, but a lot of nose authority to be able to shoot your missiles. The only thing missing, of course, is having the R-73 in this normal one, even if it has to go into a higher BR, because that would be the perfect thing. This aircraft was made to use that missile, right? Even if they remove the R-27ER, I wouldn't even care, because this thing is made to be having these high AOA things with pitches, right, with the R-73, right? So again, you can do the pulls and stuff, and you will see the reverse aileron pull. Sometimes, I mean, yeah, see, I'm just pulling upwards and it's rolling adversely to the other side. You can only control that with the rudder, okay, guys? So always remember that. That's a real life problem with this. Not really a problem, but it's something that you have to use. It's kind of a characteristic of when using these aircraft. So again, I'm just pulling upwards, see? But then it kind of rolls to the other side that I don't want to roll, okay? And the only way to control it is using the rudder, okay? So yeah, here I'm kind of stalling it out, but you get the idea. And finally, we do have our beloved AOA that the MiG-29 deserved. Even the SMT has this. It is turning a little bit less, but of course, but it's still pretty cool to have this, and it completely changes the MiG-29. So if you are a fan of the MiG-29 like I am, make sure to check it out after the update. It is much more realistic now, and of course much more unforgiving as well, but a little bit easier to get some kills with high AOA shots, okay? Of course, with the R73 and the 13.0 BR, the MiG-29G will still be my favorite just because it has the R73s, but it is still cool to fly at 12.7, this one, and of course the SMT. So, I hope you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe, and bye.